Not sure how many of you are aware, but my Green Bay Phoenix lost yesterday midday. We played Michigan Tech, a talented Division II team. We're a Division I team, and we had a 13-point lead in the second half. My point guard, Preston Rudiger, dove for a loose ball. We're playing without the nation's leading scorer, Anthony Roy, and we succumbed to a really good Michigan Tech team. And, you know, the way it works is when you watch the film, and we watched the entire film, I realized there's a couple of things I definitely should have done differently and better to put my team in a better position for success, and they need to improve as well. But when we got done, you know, I'd do a post-game press conference, and the game was at 11. It was Education Day. So Education Day means that, you know, kids are in school. It's finals week for college students. Elementary school students in Green Bay and Ashwaubenon, which is part of Green Bay, essentially, got a chance to come to the game. We had about 5,000 people in change, 5,500 people in change. And, you know, after the game, because it was early, because it's during school hours, my players, I thought, did a great job of interacting with the kids, despite the fact that we were just crestfallen that we lost another game. Once again, suffering a defeat in the second half. So I get all the way home, and I live 15 minutes from the arena, and we're sitting in the locker room, and it's hard. You put so much into it, and we've gone through so much, including, you know, going all the way out to California, coming all the way back. And when we come back, you know, we find out that our best player, Anthony Roy, is out for a substantial amount of time with a lower leg injury. You know, it just saps any of the energy out of you. So you got to get it going positive. And there were some good things that came from that game. But all in all, you still lost. So a buddy of mine calls me and is like, why did you call Michigan Tech nobody you? It's like, what are you talking about? Well, there's some video of you saying nobody you. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? So, my athletic director called me and said, yeah, did you say nobody you? I said, I don't even know what you're talking about. What I do know is that after the game, I said this about Michigan Tech. That's my boss there. If he thinks I'm not working hard enough, he'll have a talk with me. You know, I think our discussion after the tweet was that necessary? It probably wasn't. My tone was off. And I thought his comeback tone was way off. And part of the energy towards Shefty was this. When people put out that a program has $50 million in NIL, it makes programs at this level, which is the same level basketball-wise, look like what are we doing? Because we're nowhere near there. Neither are they. Like, my brother coached at Sacramento State. So there's no one who's more familiar with the Cal State system and with Sacramento State than I am, outside of my brother because he coached there. So, again, part of my energy towards it was there's just so much BS out there about what's really happening in the NIL world. And here we are, we're asking our donors to help us in any way possible financially. And how does that make them feel? Like, okay, we're nickel and diming. But, the reality is they're nowhere near that. I texted with Shefty, he texted me back. We're good. Obviously, I end up looking on social media the worse for it. Point remains that there's nothing about his tweet in terms of the facts which were accurate. And again, I don't necessarily blame him. I blame the people that just tell blatant lies to reporters, and they go with the biggest number possible. Not my finest moment, but I think one thing you guys will learn, and it will work eventually in the positive, is whatever I do is going to draw a ton of attention. And I have a certain tone sometimes to the way I speak, and especially to the way I tweet, which can upset people. But I promise you that even though it's in the negative now, it'll be in the positive soon. And, keep all the receipts, and we'll just keep doing our job. But to people who say I'm torn, I'm split, just hang out with me for a day. I mean, I'm as dedicated to this job as any human being has ever been, and I'm.
So that was after the game. This was so when I got back to the locker room. Again, I got a phone call and they're like, well, "Nobody." I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I think it's a fake account. I truly do. I think it's a fake account on a burner account on social media where some guy whose name is Mike Ashley released a portion of a previous postgame. And again, for full context, here's the reality. Okay? I'm the head coach of Green Bay. 2 years ago, Green Bay was the worst team in Division I basketball. They fired the coach midseason. Last year, a man named Sundance Wicks came in, took over the job, did an incredible job, went from 3 wins to 18 wins. Okay, 18 wins. And then he leaves. I get the job on May 15th, where it's very difficult. It's difficult. Of course I'm going to take the job. It's my dream to have a program and have one like this where so many people so badly want it to be good. When you make your schedule, some games you inherit, some games you plan. And what we didn't plan for was, I was asked last Saturday, for example, we played at UC Santa Barbara. The Gauchos are really, really good. Very good. And well coached. And, there are people that thought preseason they could be a top 25 team. This Saturday we play Drake, who's undefeated, and just beat Kansas State in Kansas City. They're very, very good. We've played Oklahoma State in the road. We played Ohio State in the road. We played Evansville on the road. We played West Illinois on the road. We've played, and we haven't played, games where, there are teams, Division II, Division III, where literally you can show up, and it's like a rec league team. And my thing has always been hey, to go to a game in Green Bay, Wisconsin, I got to give you a reason to go. The opponent is good, and Michigan Tech is a good one. And they have a lot of local kids. So I was speaking in a place, and I think this was a week ago Wednesday against Milwaukee. I actually thought it was the Cleveland State game, which was a week and a half ago. And I was discussing how difficult our schedule had been and how everyone we played was for our level, was either better than us or capable of beating us. Take a listen.
Yeah, this is why you got to schedule like everybody else does, a couple of D2s early. I know the league, and Julie was here today, and she's wonderful. But the league's you got these tiers on who to schedule, nobody. And part of the reason I want to play better teams is it's 2 degrees outside, it's snowing. I don't really like the idea of nobody you coming in here and I always thought what do we learn playing a game where we win by 20? But there's a methodology to it, and I'm going to have to adjust moving forward with the schedule. And I know you sit there and you go well, Evansville's just okay and Campbell's just okay. It's yes, but every game on our schedule is a game that we can lose. And nobody else does that. And now you know why.
Yeah. So I'm not whining about it. I've done it to myself. One of the things that I think separates me from other people is mistakes I've made in life, mistakes I've made professionally, I own. I've always owned them. Even to my team today. To my team today, they did things which, out of character, not asked to do, that we feel like we should have won the game. But I did some things. There was 2 instances I could have called a timeout late in the game, drawn up a play, and given us a clear look. We got pretty good looks anyway, but that's not the point. The point is, to do my job, I have to be willing to admit, hey, I could have done it better here. But I don't. Last night was a crazy night. You have people, obviously there's some Michigan Tech, and there's always going to be haters out there. There's going to be people. I have 2 amazing jobs. I live an incredible life. more so than more. These are greater opportunities than I reasonably deserve. I am grateful to them on a daily basis. I don't take that for granted. But I don't really understand the kicking us while we're down in year one. But I also, like whoever this, if it's really a guy named Mike Ansley, you feel free to call the show. Using a quote out of context, and then reputable news organizations picked it up and ran with it. Last night I was watching our tape, talking to coaches on the phone, and a buddy of mine calls and is like, hey, why is ESPN you guys have lost 8 in a row, whatever, on the bottom line? I was like, what are you talking about? I don't know. I'm not watching. Here's the Dan Patrick Show earlier today.
Yes, Paul.
I was watching the ESPN scroll during SportsCenter after the bowl game last night, and on the scroll, which includes like North Carolina beats whoever, big college basketball games, men's college basketball, Gottlieb Green Bay lose to Division II Michigan Tech. 8th straight loss for Gottlieb's Green Bay team. That was on the ESPN scroll of news last night.
How many coaches' names are attached to their team on the scroll?
0, generally.
I mean, that's definitely a shot to, for Shefty. That's a jab from ESPN for Doug. That's not right. Journalistically, that's not right. It's a good shot. Yeah, yes, Todd.
Unless it's some type of milestone win, there should be no reason to possibly put the coach's name next to the result.
Yeah, I don't like if Tom Izzo wins his 1,000th game. Okay, Doug lost to Michigan Tech. Like Gottlieb and Wisconsin Green Bay lose. Like that's not fair to Doug. That made the bottom line. Come on, mothership. Shefty can take care of himself. He doesn't need you.
I tell you where it doesn't feel good. I worked at ESPN for 9 years in Bristol. My first year, I just did games, and I lived in Oklahoma City. When I left ESPN, I had a 5-year guaranteed contract on the table. And I've told people for a long time, like, probably a mistake. I was really happy living in Canton, Connecticut. Big house, great schools, good people, knew everybody. I'm still very close with so many of my ESPN brethren. Many of them aren't there anymore. The first part that they went with for a long time that I called Michigan Tech nobody you is embarrassing because having worked there, if you didn't follow the codes of basic journalism, then you wouldn't work there anymore. And then what is the point? So here's the thing, ESPN. You're allowed to track every loss and put it on my name. That's fine. I'd like you to do the same thing for every win. Right? Like, we'll keep the receipts. So I don't know what it is. I don't. If it's ESPN protecting Adam Schefter doesn't need protection. He makes well into 7 figures, okay? And by the way, there's been no accountability. It's not like anybody's gone like, hey, by the way, we think your tone was off, but so was Adam's, and oh yeah, his tweet was actually wrong. No, but nobody's said that. But piling on when you just lose a basketball game. I never seen anything like it. Sam, have you ever seen anything like this before? Ever?
No, I haven't.
I'm like blown away by why people. I love that people care. Just make sure you care when we win, and eventually we'll win. Just doesn't happen overnight, And I can go into all the coaching things like, hey, we have the nation's leading scorer. He's not playing. Okay? So when you get that news the day before a game, in the middle of finals week, when you just travel back from Santa Barbara, a game that you were leading when he got hurt, and then you're still playing pretty well, and your leader gets hurt, who's guarding the other team's best player, one of the best, maybe the best Division II player in the country, and you have an inexperienced coach by all estimations. I've coached a lot of games, not a lot of college games. You make mistakes. You lose a game. But this was not a one-year plan. Nor did anybody have any huff and bravado and talk any trash about any opponents. If you go back and look at every game we've played, I've made it a special point to give incredible praise to everybody we've played and the teams that we have beaten. I've admitted when we beat SIUE, Brian Broney's their coach. They were tired. We weren't that good. They ran out of gas. Hey, we played Western Illinois. They had just gotten back from a West Coast trip. They were dead in the water. I've made sure to not make it about me, to make it about our team, to try and do the right things in building a program. And it's not easy. I haven't made the excuses of having the youngest roster in the league or losing my best player or any of the other issues that we run into. We just got to be better. But I find it really sad. I find it really sad that I get to be the punching bag. Now, the good part to it is takes all the pressure off of all my players. Right? Nobody's mentioned them by name or word, and that's fine. And when we win, they should get all the praise. But what a weird day. What a weird thing. Something I said taken completely out of context and used and weaponized against me as if I'm some trash-talking first-time Division I head coach that calls an opponent a capable opponent. Nobody you. Like, am I an idiot? Maybe I'm an idiot, but not in this particular case. So here's the point we can put on digital. Here's the point that you can remember. Okay? It's not just that what I said is being weaponized and used in the opposite of how it was actually said and used in my statement. It's that reputable people have chosen to use the out-of-context statement. And it shows why social media, and we've seen this in other parts of social media. Right? When you show half of a video, you're like, yeah, what happened when the video wasn't being shown? What happened at the rest of the press conference? What happened at the rest of the arrest? Those are the things that when you're really trying to find the truth, you dig into finding. Instead, you edit something, it goes viral, and despite the fact there'll be no retractions, no apologies, none of that. Instead, they'll just say, oh, I had it coming to me. Why? Because I host a sports radio show? Because I didn't think Steph Curry would be a great pro? Okay. Like, how is that where we are? So, here's the honest truth. I don't care. I'm actually built to withstand a lot worse. Right? Nobody died yesterday. It's exactly what I told one of my players who got hurt. Hey, nobody died. I've been in a lot worse shape before. And you know what I've done? I've dug myself out of it. Every single time. And we'll do that here. So, I'm sad for the state, if you will, that somehow that's become cool. I actually understand politicians a little bit more when you're like, well, that's not at all how that was said. Like, what are we doing? And then it goes viral, and then your friends are like, dude, why'd you say that? Like, I didn't say that. And then the whole video comes out, and people are like, well, the whole video is shared. Yeah, but it doesn't go viral. It's not nearly the same. Nobody cares. They just want something salacious. So we're not going anywhere. The show's not distracting me. I just need to be better at both of my jobs, and it's a challenge. And I need more and more help from the people that we have hired to help us. And if you're not on board, that's fine. You don't have to be. It's okay. I'm not for everybody. But just remember, the people that make the comments, okay, I'll keep the receipts. We'll win. We'll win.